If you're over 65 and feel shaky standing up, dragging your feet or avoiding stairs, listen carefully. Doctors say it's just aging. Science says it's missing nutrients, and these 8 foods flip the switch back on. This is where I want to bring in the wisdom of Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, one of the most respected longevity physicians in the world. He lived past 100, not because he chased aggressive treatments, but because he understood something modern medicine often forgets. Hinohara said, "The body is not repaired by parts alone, but by daily care." That single sentence explains why so many pills fail. Your body does not respond best to isolated chemicals. It responds to signals, daily, repeated biological messages delivered through food. And nowhere is this more true than in the legs. Now let me add one modern perspective. Dr. Peter Attia has been very clear about this. Leg strength is not cosmetic. It is not about looking fit. Leg strength is a survival skill. It predicts how long you live, how fast you recover, and whether you stay independent as the years pass. Strong legs mean resilience. Weak legs mean vulnerability. Yet almost no one is taught how to feed their legs correctly. We assume weakness is just aging. We assume pills will fix it. We assume walking alone is enough. And that assumption is costing people their freedom. So here is the promise I'm making to you today. Not hype, not theory. I'm going to show you 8 everyday foods, not exotic and not expensive, that restore leg strength better than pills. They work because they follow biology, not marketing. They improve muscle signaling. They improve circulation. They improve recovery. We are going to move through 4 food systems your legs depend on, and we are going to end with the most overlooked leg strength food of all, one almost nobody talks about, yet it changes how your legs feel when you wake up in the morning. Before we go any further, I want you to do one thing for me. In the comments, tell me where you are watching from. I read every single one, and it helps me know who I am speaking to. Now listen closely. You are not weak because you are old. You are struggling because your legs have not been getting the right messages. Let's start fixing that, beginning with the foods that wake your leg muscles back up. Most people believe leg strength fades because protein intake drops. That idea sounds logical, but it misses the real issue. The problem is not the amount of protein. The problem is whether the legs can hear it. With age, leg muscles become selectively deaf. This is known as anabolic resistance. The same protein that once rebuilt muscle quietly passes by, barely registering. The signal is too weak, too vague, too slow. That is why powders often disappoint. They provide quantity without clarity. Leg muscles respond best to precise amino acid signals, especially leucine. Leucine acts like a biological announcement system. When it arrives in the right form, muscles shift from standby mode into repair mode. When it does not, the body conserves energy instead of rebuilding strength. Think of it like a room filled with background noise. Supplements often whisper into that noise. These foods speak clearly. Food number 8 is eggs, eaten whole rather than whites alone. The yolk matters. It carries fat-soluble nutrients that escort amino acids into muscle tissue. Without that escort, the message weakens. Whole eggs deliver a clean, unmistakable signal that leg muscles recognize immediately. Food number 7 is Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese. These foods digest slowly and steadily, releasing amino acids over time. This creates a sustained signal rather than a short spike. For aging legs, that sustained message matters more than intensity. When these foods are present early in the day, something subtle but important changes. Standing from a chair begins to feel smoother, not dramatic, not overnight, but within weeks rather than months, the movement feels less negotiated and more natural. This is not about eating more food. It is about eating food that speaks the muscle's language. When the signal is clear, the legs respond. When it is vague, they conserve. Many people are surprised by how little is needed once the signal is right. A moderate serving that delivers 20 to 30 grams of protein is enough to wake muscle repair pathways that have been dormant for years. This is the first system, muscle signaling. But muscle alone does not explain leg strength. Even a strong muscle fails if it is underfed at the cellular level. That brings us to the next system, one that determines whether your legs feel heavy or light when you move through the day. We continue with the circulation foods that feed leg muscles. If strong legs matter to your independence, subscribe now. I share food-based fixes pills never deliver. Leg weakness is often blamed on shrinking muscle, but many strong-looking legs fail for a quieter reason. They are undersupplied. The muscle is there, but the delivery system is compromised. As the years pass, blood vessels stiffen and narrow. The inner lining of the arteries produces less nitric oxide, the molecule that tells vessels to relax and open. When that signal weakens, oxygen and nutrients struggle to reach the lower body. The legs are far from the heart, and they feel the shortage first. When circulation fades, movement feels heavier. Steps require more effort. Walks feel shorter, even when muscle size has not changed. The engine is intact, but the fuel line is restricted. This is why circulation matters as much as strength. Muscle without blood flow is like a car without gasoline. Food number 6 is beets, either cooked or gently prepared as juice. Beets contain natural nitrates that the body converts into nitric oxide. This conversion helps blood vessels relax, improving flow to working muscles. When this pathway is supported, the legs often feel less dense and more responsive. Food number 5 is arugula or spinach, lightly cooked. These greens reinforce the same nitric oxide pathway, but with added minerals that support vessel flexibility. Cooking them gently reduces digestive stress and improves absorption, allowing the benefit to reach the legs rather than remaining trapped in the gut. When these foods are present earlier in the day, the effect shows up during movement. Legs feel lighter during walks. The dragging sensation fades. Endurance improves not because muscles grow larger, but because they are finally being supplied. Circulation is a quiet contributor to strength. When it works, you do not notice it. When it fails, every step feels heavier than it should. This system feeds the muscle. But even a well-fed muscle cannot move smoothly without proper communication. Strength depends on timing, relaxation, and control. That brings us to the next system, the one responsible for steadiness, balance, and confidence on stairs. Next, we move into the mineral and nerve foods that restore leg control. Strength is often described as power, but in the legs, control matters just as much. Many people notice that their legs are not simply weak, they are unpredictable. They cramp, they hesitate, they feel unsteady on stairs or uneven ground. This is not a muscle problem alone, it is a communication problem. Every step requires a precise conversation between nerves and muscle fibers. The nerve sends the signal, the muscle contracts, then it relaxes at exactly the right moment. When that timing is off, movements feel stiff, jerky, or delayed, even if muscle mass is still present. As the body ages, this signaling becomes less efficient. Minerals that regulate nerve firing and muscle relaxation are absorbed less reliably, especially when they come from isolated sources. The message arrives incomplete. The muscle tightens when it should release. Balance suffers. This is why leg strength is not just about force, it is about coordination. Food number 4 is avocados. They provide potassium and magnesium in a form the body recognizes and uses efficiently. These minerals support nerve transmission and help muscles relax after contraction. When this balance improves, movements feel smoother and more controlled. Food number 3 is beans or lentils, well cooked. These foods deliver magnesium along with slow-digesting carbohydrates that stabilize nerve firing. Proper preparation matters here. When cooked thoroughly, they nourish without overwhelming digestion, allowing minerals to reach the nervous system rather than being lost. When these foods are present regularly, the change is often described in practical terms. Less cramping at night, a steadier feeling when turning, better control on stairs. The legs feel more cooperative, less reactive. This is the wiring system. Muscles are the motors, but nerves are the conductors. When the wiring is supported, strength becomes usable instead of theoretical. At this point, muscle signaling is clearer, circulation is improved, nerve communication is steadier. But there is one final system that determines whether leg strength is preserved or slowly lost. It works while you are asleep, and it is often completely overlooked. Most people associate leg strength with movement, walking, standing, activity, the visible effort. What is rarely acknowledged is that effort is only the trigger. Strength itself is not created in motion. It is preserved, repaired, and stabilized when the body is still. At night, the body shifts into a different biological state. Stress hormones fall. Inflammatory signals are processed. Muscle fibers that were stressed during the day are either repaired or quietly dismantled, depending on the resources available. This decision happens largely while you sleep. With age, this overnight repair system becomes less reliable. Inflammation lingers longer than it should. Muscle protein breakdown slightly outweighs repair. Nerve tissue resets more slowly. None of this is dramatic enough to notice in a single night, but over months and years it adds up. The legs lose resilience not because they are overused, but because they are under-repaired. This is why so many people notice the same pattern. Mornings feel stiff. The first steps are cautious. Balance feels delayed. Strength seems to arrive only after warming up. These sensations are often blamed on joints or age itself, but they are better understood as signs that overnight recovery has been incomplete. The body runs a kind of night shift. Its job is to clean up inflammation, repair muscle tissue, and prepare the nervous system for the next day. When that shift is understaffed, small problems accumulate quietly. Muscle fibers become more fragile, tendons lose elasticity, nerves fire less smoothly. Over time, this erosion shows up as weakness. Certain foods support this repair process in a way supplements often cannot. They work not by forcing muscle growth, but by protecting muscle tissue from unnecessary breakdown and calming the inflammation that interferes with recovery. Fatty fish plays a central role here. Salmon and sardines provide omega-3 fats that integrate directly into muscle cell membranes. This changes how those cells respond to stress. Inflammatory signals become less aggressive. Repair pathways are favored over breakdown. The muscle becomes more resistant to damage from everyday use. Over time, this protection matters more than short bursts of strength. Preserving muscle quality keeps movement smooth and predictable. It reduces the background inflammation that stiffens joints and slows recovery. Legs that recover well overnight do not feel as if they are starting from zero each morning. The effect is subtle but cumulative. People often describe it as waking up with legs that feel more cooperative, less tight, less fragile, more willing to bear weight without hesitation. Then there is the most overlooked piece of leg strength preservation: sleep quality itself. Sleep is not passive rest. It is an active biological process. During deep sleep, growth factors are released, muscle repair accelerates, the nervous system recalibrates balance and coordination. When sleep is fragmented or shallow, these processes are cut short. This is where a small, simple food makes an outsized difference. Kiwi contains compounds that support natural sleep rhythms and reduce nighttime inflammation. Better sleep improves the efficiency of the night shift. Repair becomes more complete. Inflammation resolves more fully. Muscles wake up closer to their true capacity. The change is often noticed first thing in the morning. The initial steps feel steadier. The legs feel present rather than hesitant. Strength feels available sooner, without needing prolonged warming up. What makes this so powerful is that it does not rely on effort. It works while you are asleep. It supports the body's own priorities instead of fighting them. This reframes how leg strength is understood. Strength is not something you chase endlessly during the day. It is something you protect at night. When recovery is supported, the work done during the day finally pays off. This is why people who focus only on activity often plateau. They stimulate muscle repeatedly, but fail to preserve it. Over time, the gap between effort and recovery widens, and strength declines despite continued movement. When overnight recovery is supported, the opposite happens. Strength stabilizes, movements feel safer, confidence returns quietly, without fanfare. Legs that recover well do not announce it loudly, they simply work when needed. And that, more than anything, is what real strength looks like in aging bodies. Leg strength rarely disappears all at once. It fades quietly, almost politely, through small changes that are easy to dismiss. A pause before standing, a hand reaching for support that was never needed before, a sense that the legs need time to wake up. These moments are often brushed aside as normal aging, yet they are signals, not of failure, but of unmet biological needs. What becomes clear when leg weakness is viewed through this lens is that the body is not running out of strength. It is running out of support. Muscles, nerves, and blood vessels are still capable of functioning well, but they require clearer signals and steadier nourishment than they did in earlier decades. When those signals fade, the body adapts by conserving energy and limiting output. Strength is not lost aggressively, it is rationed. This is why quick fixes disappoint. Pills promise efficiency, but biology values context. Isolated compounds rarely arrive with the supporting elements that allow them to be used correctly. Food does. Food delivers information alongside nourishment. It tells muscles when to repair, vessels when to relax, nerves when to fire smoothly, and inflammatory systems when to stand down. These messages, repeated daily, preserve function in a way that force never can. This understanding aligns closely with the lifelong philosophy of Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. He observed that health in later life is not maintained through intensity, but through consistency. The body responds best when it is trusted with simple care, offered regularly. Strength, in this view, is not something to be pushed back into place. It is something to be supported so it does not slip away. Modern longevity medicine reaches a similar conclusion from a different angle. Dr. Peter Attia has pointed out that leg strength is one of the strongest predictors of independence as people age, not because strong legs prevent aging, but because they buffer against its consequences. Falls, prolonged recovery, and loss of mobility are not random events. They are the result of systems that were gradually undernourished. What is reassuring is how accessible this nourishment can be. Supporting leg strength does not require complexity or excess. It requires precision. Foods that send clear muscle signals, foods that improve circulation to the lower body, foods that stabilize nerve communication, foods that protect recovery during sleep. When these elements are present together, the body shifts out of conservation mode and back into maintenance. This approach restores a sense of control that many people feel slipping away. Strength becomes predictable again. Movements feel less negotiated. The legs respond when asked, not after delay or hesitation. This is not dramatic change. It is quiet reliability, which is far more valuable. There is dignity in this kind of strength. It does not depend on constant monitoring or escalating interventions. It integrates into daily life without disruption. The body is not confused or overstimulated. It is simply supported. Before assuming that weakness is inevitable, it is worth reconsidering the signals being sent each day. Leg strength does not begin in a bottle. It begins with repeated familiar messages delivered through food. When those messages are restored, the body often responds with more strength than expected. Independence is preserved not through force, but through alignment with biology. Subscribe for clear, food-based ways to keep your legs strong, steady, and independent as you age.